Teams that suck for a reason. And that can really show itself on these afternoons sometimes. And the Jets and Dolphins, both these teams are bad. That being said, this was Miami's best chance at a win for the rest of the season. They were at home. They were playing the Jets, and this really says volumes about this team that they can get blown out like this. If I was on a team that was on pace to go 0-16 or whatever, that would be a big deal to me. I would really, really just be desperate to try and avoid that. I don't know where the passion is on this team right now, but I don't see it. Beck turned the ball over by himself like 5 times, 3 picks, a couple of forced fumbles. Couldn't feel the pass rush very well. He had no running game. The receivers weren't making very many plays for him. Nothing working offensively. The only player who played particularly well was Jay Feely. Their only touchdown of the day came defensively. So they had nothing going on offense, and it was painful to watch. I didn't get to watch most of this game, but I did see enough to, see that this was just ugly. And there's nothing else to say about this Dolphins team right now. They got great quarterback pressure. I think they had 6 or 7 sacks on the day. And part of that comes back to a Kellen Clemens, who can't seem to feel the pass rush quite yet. He's coming along somewhat nicely. He's doing some things right, but he needs to feel the pass rush better. As for the Jets, Thomas Jones finally gets in the end zone. Leon Washington and Thomas Jones combined to put together a real good running game. Clemens played decently, not spectacular, but decent. Made some plays, got sacked too much. Mike Nugent, 4 field goals, 4 extra points, all perfect. So there you go. David Harris continues to dominate the league over the last several weeks. They forced quite a few turnovers. They got sacks. So good game by New York. Obviously, it doesn't mean much at this point, but they're playing for pride, which is more than Miami can say. I don't know what they're playing for. Bill Skins, and when Buffalo came back to win this game at the 4 seconds left, to kind of set the tone for the rest of the day, because I had a pretty poor week picking again, 9-7. I'm better than that. I know I'm better than that, but I was doing real well, and then Buffalo came back, and that just kind of set the tone for me. Campbell, again, he's not progressing as nicely as you might like. He's playing all right, and he's playing behind a gutted offensive line that gave up, I think, 3 sacks and numerous quarterback pressures. They could not run the ball. Again, the receivers have a hard time making plays, especially without Randall L in the lineup. Cooley's having a great season. He should make a Pro Bowl, but beyond that, it's just hard to get plays out of this group right now. They turned the ball over a couple times, and that was obviously crucial. They gave up a really ridiculous safety where they just let a linebacker go completely unblocked, and, they had enough offensive linemen to contain that. There's no reason for that. Defensively, they couldn't get a lot of quarterback pressure. I believe they generated 1 turnover. That's obviously not going to get the job done. And ultimately, they couldn't score very many touchdowns. I think they only had 1 on the afternoon by Portis, who otherwise had a poor game. Got to punch it in. That's pretty much the long and short of it. Buffalo, they're putting together a nice team. Nice team, young. They're very injured right now, but they're hanging in there. They're doing a pretty good job of protecting the ball. Edwards is showing potential, which I guess is more than Lossman can say. Lossman came in and had a couple of games that were pretty good, but Edwards is looking more and more like the future. Fred Jackson came in and played well. Really what this team needed right now. The receivers made a couple of plays for their quarterback. The defense made that big safety and got a couple of turnovers, got good pressure. And Ryan Lindell, the hero. And obviously for Washington, this is a rough way to lose. The most ridiculous way you can possibly think of losing, probably. Ridiculous penalty that really should never happen. But I give my credit to Buffalo. They're putting together something right now, and you gotta like what you see. And I think Washington should have came out and played a little more spirited, giving the stakes. And that's not to try and put a positive spin on Sean Taylor's death, because I couldn't possibly do that. But I think you got to play with a little more fight and emotion than that. Vikings 42, Lions 10. Had a feeling that those Lions were frauds, and here we are, getting destroyed by Minnesota. And I really think that this clock has struck midnight on their little Cinderella run. They still got to play Green Bay and San Diego and Kansas City and Dallas. It's not happening. 10 wins. I think they're going to get 7, and I think they're going to go 7-9, miss the playoffs, and that'll be that. Once again, they cannot run the ball, and it really is ridiculous how poorly they're running the ball right now. It's, to me, unheard of in the league. Passing game, where is Calvin Johnson? Why aren't they throwing it to him more? I mean, he's a playmaker. Get him the ball. Even if he's hit a bit of a rookie wall, try and get him going. Now Roy Williams is out for the season, so now they don't have a choice. But still, I think this team is more talented than that. Kitna didn't play poorly, but he just needed to have a running game behind him, I think, and needed his receivers to make more plays for him. Defensively, they are getting the occasional turnover. Actually they're doing pretty good in terms of forcing turnovers and stuff, but it's not amounting to very much right now. But however, defensively on this day they were awful. Minnesota got touchdowns on their first 6 possessions, which if that happens, how can you lose? Tavares Jackson, he's coming along nicely. Played another really good game. Adrian Peterson's back, and he was monster once again. Chester Taylor, he's the backup now, but he'll take that role willingly, and he'll play well. Receivers starting to make plays. A bunch of different people. Maybe no superstar, but they're getting things done. And defensively, they're generating great quarterback pressure, much better than previously. They're forcing a couple of turnovers. There's not a lot else to say, but I want nothing to do with Minnesota in the postseason, and I don't think anybody wants anything to do with them. You might have to play them in the first round, and I'm terrified of that prospect because this is a team that's getting hot at the right time, and they're going to make some noise. I don't think anybody, Dallas, Green Bay, anybody wants a piece of the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs right about now, because they are getting things done right now, and it's scary. And we got the Titans beating the Texans. You get Albert Haynesworth back, and suddenly everything is better. Excuse my voice. With Albert Haynesworth back, they were able to generate a lot more pressure, I think. They got 2 sacks, but sometimes it's more than that. They were able to get good pressure. The rookie Michael Griffin came up with a big play to seal the game. So defensively, they're not quite back where they used to be, but they're getting there. Vince Young had one of his better games of this season. They were able to run the ball, even with Lindell White out. They ran the ball well. Their receivers, there's a reason why Vince had one of his better games. His receivers stepped up to the plate, and they did what they needed to do for one of the few times this year, really. There are several reasons why the Titans do struggle offensively at some points. And when things come together like they did on a Sunday, it can look pretty nice. Houston, Matt Chubb can just not stay healthy, and it's really a shame for him because he was having a good season, but these injuries just seem to be killing him right now. Rosenfels came in and played admirably, but that doesn't cut it. And, once again, they get swept by Tennessee. And, Ron Dane, I've always kind of thought Ron Dane had the talent to be a good player and was just misused. And, he's putting together a nice career revival in Houston on occasion. He has a couple of good games here and there. On this day, 86 yards against a good defense and a touchdown. Andre Johnson's back as well, so they got some offensive firepower. And I think this team has done a good job, improved over last year. It's a step in the right direction for them. Mario Williams with 2.5 sacks. He's got, 8.5 on the season. He's about to double his production from last year. So obviously good for him. There's a ton of pressure on him. It's nice to see him living up to it.